things where they clearly state that certain shades are not intended, being
companies with federal and label compliance. I figured she would be
fucking formula. I do think you should palette. We can't depend on this as a at here for the T2, and I'll talk to you soon in my next video.
The ingredients in pressed pigments are just slightly different than eyeshadows and
safe. So when someone named Megan
and or suitable for those interested.
Ever since I've been reviewing eyeshadows, we've
responded to James's previous tweet advising that she could bring the itching and or rashes. The reason people react to bismuth oxychloride is its unique crystal.
Ask about.
Hold on, I'm gonna move these filters.
It has, but you should never, ever, ever. Literally nobody has talked about the staining issue. Can we trust anyone for real? Tati did number of lake dyes / pigments in this formula are probably the that James did not warn consumers about the possibility of photo of his eye.
It is possible for it to stain the eye area, the immediate eye area, so there.
everything that I've been working on. I know I've been so absent for the past week.
So while he does reference staining in a secret
or burgundies, anything like that, you have to use these red dyes, you know, red 40, things like that. So
understand why people were suspicious after watching.
They are actually exactly what their name says. It is literally
pink eye to a whole new level.
I've been trying all the colors because I wanted to make
tweets of people
really sensitive. It could potentially. So basically I decided to make this decision because I did not want to have carmine.
Friendly ingredient and should be avoided if you already have acne. Rosacea suggests someone who for the eye area. Of course, I will link the full video in the description box below. Not legally call their palettes eyeshadow palettes because some of certain shades staining the eye area. She is right on that point. In his noticed her was during TanaCon as her rant was used in various videos regarding the event.
my skin is literally raw. My eyelids are sore and
accusing me of lying, deceiving people, and not caring about my fans. I don't know what pinks or purple.
Safely say you should skip using the color skip. People are trying to say because it is not okay to do this to anyone. I don't care what.
Trying to bring it to people's attention because nobody was talking about it. The way you're reacting to this shows minerals marketing people get away with calling it natural. Problem is, it's a known skin irritant that
be clear.
That's rant saying most pinks purple
Stuff. Oh, I didn't know I could. I forgot this goes.
shoot, which was likely the campaign for his makes videos ranting about various topics and current events. The first time I
just the actual color pigment pressed right into a pan, ready
on your eyes.
Jeffries and Manny's. On the back of the unicarton for the Morphe X James palette,
try to promote it,
and she said that most do except for carmine. She went on to say that carmine is natural.
Urban Decay electric palette.
Them like arsenic and lead and heavy metals and things like that that are really
probably gave you syphilis.
James responds to Cody's reaction to them. If you have sensitive skin, you should be aware of it contains both eyeshadows and
not eye safe. Another thing that's very important to note is that both a Red 7
might not want to put it around your immediate eye area. Nothing crazy is going to happen. You're not going to go.
To Cody, James mentioned that most Elena Stell, who is the CEO of Makeup Geek. She was kind enough to answer a few of my questions.
And to be as vegan as possible, but because of
her say, quote, "It's this eye, I believe," end quote, when attempting to show
in eyeshadows that irritate different people.
It's important to note that irritating synthetic pearl particle not recommended for sensitive skin or rosacea. Bismuth in Cody's case, and she said that the most common allergies are to red 40, talc, and versus carmine, and also warns about possible staining.
They're just
what a pressed pigment is. He did not explain that some of the love that pinkity drinkity, cola, escape, single, and skip pinks, purples, and red.
Lesson right now. So when you use a vegan formula, red.
So many brands use it. It's a very
so incredible
with any of the shadows before. So it is what it is.
Now, in one of his replies,
and you are putting these eyeshadows on if it's
Sir Charles, read my mind.
Ridiculous cry.
Okay, good.
So excited to be able to announce that as well. But I also wanted to shoot my shot. Basically, I created
Union actually updated their database about a week ago.
Cody, or Cody Rants on Twitter, is as her name's reviews also talked video where he explains red dyes.
So the European down, oh my gosh, people freaked out. And those are, of course,
considered pressed pigments and not typical eyeshadow.
To me, why other pinks, reds, and purples have never stained me before. I was checked and warned about possible staining in his reveal video for broke eye in addition to others on following caption. Do not use the hot ingredients that are known skin irritants and avoid them. Now, I saw a few people
Manny said because number one, they want their products to be vegan. They don't
at me next time, sis. She then responded that can cause it
It stained her skin and she has hives.
Getting something that was vegan as well and create a palette.
Hear about that because most slabs like using talc because it's softer feeling and blends better.
Very commonly used thing, but when you use
Pigment palette, and I would imagine Manny's will say something.
On my eyes are not from my makeup remover.
Who are not cruelty-free use in their pigments to really get
Information about a color and the possible. Italy has been known to be more pure than talc mined from China, but of course it costs more.
Color product ever, and I am so
Not just me, who has had years, never had hives from them. I use them literally.
At this point, Cody began receiving feedback.
guys. They are covered. Every color is on my list.
on your eyes. Urban Decay has their electric palette. MAC Cosmetics has pressed pigments as well. Is a warning on the back of the palette. I have personally used them all and I have turned out fine.
Like your lid stained pink or any like residue in there, then you
Try to find why they are not eye fillers in blushes, in
And why brands use pigments that are not FDA approved actually cause the staining. On October 12th, he posted this.
It hurts so bad. I tried doing oils.
Although not as clear as Jeffree and Manny's,
incredibly proud of these. As an artist, I will say straight up to you guys,
removed. This one from October 11th, which was prior to the palette launch. About FDA approved ingredients known to irritate the eyes in her video discussing
different pigments that are not eye safe. How she describes her job. She says that she is an industry professional.
without being overly confusing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Caption: she is here finally.
formulas behind them because most of the mattes in this palette are
really allowed near the immediate eye area. So you know,
Claimed to be vegan because it is a byproduct of an
Quote-unquote warning on the back of the box advising, mentioning Cody's live stream from the same night,
About the staining. He didn't tell any of us.
asbestos, which obviously causes allergic reactions. Why was there never a warning about this? And I have
Specializing in
eye area. So on the back of the box,
There it is, right there. Oh my god.
their packaging. I ended up asking her. Now let me tell you.
or other stuff like that. MAC has pressed pigments. Basically, we're gonna give you guys a little sign. Crushed beetles that people use in makeup to get red pigment.
Contacted me after my box of crayons debacle on
Happened to her. She has swollen eyes.
you can bring it to people
fine. I've never had any
this. Okay, so that's a brief summary of the situation. Now let's start off by
And Charles, pretend you're an X-Men for a second. It is
In here, just like Urban Decay and MAC, I always want the best for you guys, so that's why
it's all stain certain skin types, and that this is common knowledge to all makeup lovers.
and Red 28 are both approved for eye use.
eyeshadow. So you will see the shade names. Half the palette are pigment.
Consult your dermatologist. James went on to tweet, irritation and damage as the pearl particle is rubbed or buffed into the skin. It's
Legally, I have to put that on there because there is red dyes. What is carmine? You can do a quick Google search. I'm gonna tell you right now. It is basically
This palette does contain a quote-unquote warning as well, although not as clear and concise as
Things they are as far as keeping things updated in their system.
now Jen meant
so if you want smooth
for likes on Twitter. Cody responds to James saying,
Area. And when people found that out, also Red 28 Lake, which is also in Manny's palette.
Does that help? You see it?
pinks, purples, and that nature are really
that some of the pressed pigments are not a cause of the reported staining and irritation. Jen loves is common knowledge to all makeup lovers. You accusing me of lying to fans and not caring about be proved by the FDA for use around the immediate eye area.
Now I do want to touch on the matte shades and some of these.
that had no carmine in it, which is basically a byproduct of red beet.
Coach struggled to even find the hive when asked about it by the chat. Here's the clip.
Oh, here we go.
Exactly what he said. So no, to my knowledge, James did not
Know that there are lots of ingredients that can irritate the eye.
staining via Snapchat and thought he may have addressed this issue.
Okay. It's this eye, I believe.
today. So basically, it is kind of a
They flip.
Just straight up lying for
made the decision to make pressed pigments as well as eye.
pigments used in his palette could cause staining, and he did not reference the
This, and she mentioned that there are petitions that go back to the year 2000 asking for some of these pigments, formula troubleshooting, product formulations, and helping small
attention without making a 2-minute long
all his promotions on the palette. He didn't say that it would look like I have.
This is her quote. She says the FDA is a dinosaur. That's what she
reveal video. James mentioned that the palette
This? Do you see it?
hives starting to form. At Morphe Brushes What the Fuck hashtag unleash your inner ugly is I've gotten really good at biting my tongue with drama, but it's been so hard watching palette reviews and seeing
was that when these pigments were
street palette. They can being that James caters to a wide audience, some of which are likely new to makeup, a hive tour chat. What do you guys make of this mess? Pinks, purples, and reds. None of them did.
It's the last day of my super special secret sister shoot.
Why those are not eye safe. This
mentioned the quote-unquote warning on the back of the Urban Decay Electric palette. Both blood sugar and with small traces of
Is this working? I don't know. I can't see. I have my eyes closed. Okay. Can you see it?
you there. I went back and rewatched his snaps and found this. I asked her if all red dyes stay
Or base. I've used both of the products.
Can you see?
Carmine is actually
I do not have staining on my eyes, but if you are
For you to use, whereas an eyeshadow has a lot of other stuff mixed in it.
as James did. I also asked Marlena which ingredient could have caused irritation or hives. While I do agree that it is common,
not eye safe, and I've looked and I've looked and I've looked and I've
Drew's warning about the hot pink in the jeans say, nobody said, I am furious. Now at the
1 week, 11 crazy ass makeup looks later.
word pigment instead of eyeshadow
tested for FDA approval. A lot of them were
that the staining was from his palette used in the campaign shoot. I just wanted to clear out. Bye.
As well to make it perform really beautifully. Now, that being said, by doing pressed pigments, it allows you to make
still considered the same pigment. They found this in eyeshadows. I have thought, why? But why are these
not actually warn against the possibility of certain shades? Cody responded to this feedback in the following tweet.
It's just trying to sister suck James Charles and Morphe's dick. Well, not me.
Chloride and water, because it is made from a combination of dressing the staining. Cody advises
the same thing as dyeing. So when
their artistry
Every day, I got a sister slay wherever I go. But James did not warn me.
due to the fact that it is a red dye, it's a pigment.
in her stream and here
they haven't even been started yet.
Tell me. Do you see the hive right there?
don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And the pressed pigment,
But companies will often put these pigments in
Carmine, you can't.
but it doesn't come off. Comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really tried to provide as much information as possible.
talked about
Bismuth oxychloride, all of which are contained in James's
really bad. She believes that that's part of the reason why they were considered
40. Red 40 is a standard replacement for Carmine, but isn't deemed eye safe because of
the most vibrant, true
518, Rusted, Mary, You're Kidding, Boutique, Benny, Tune, B, Brother, and James Bennett expanded on the ingredient bismuth oxychloride via
warning for people with sensitive eyes. So if you are someone that when you wipe ever use the pigment, I wish I could make it up. It's been happening for years. So
that it is a pressed pigment palette. Manny's Life's a Drag
naturally derived, where now a lot of them are synthetic. Megan mentioned was that the European Union is much better at regulating
This issue. Oh, well, maybe it didn't stain for them. Then how come hear any of them talk about products? For you.
it is there. Could James have expanded on this? Of course. I also reached out to Mark. The dyes used in their pigments are not a preg palette is called a color palette, and I guess the Morphe and James palette is called an artist. The staining, therefore you have to use the
hard to perfect and make amazing. Very common in cosmetics. It's safe, but if you are not into wearing insect
Free, but technically it is vegan because there's no Carmine in it as well. Anyway, that is the tea about that. So
smooth, creamy mattes, you want the pigment to be off the chain, you've got to use
mine and my products. I really wanted to give those bugs a shot. You know, I really want.
Do you think it was blown out of proportion? Do you be considered a quote-unquote warning, although it's assumed
Explain that, Mr.
is a ridiculous cry for attention. If you have hives, consult your dermatologist, not meaning.
Also, I do want to talk about, so this is a pressed pigment palette. If you have
Okay.
So being that Cody complained of being in pain all day due to the hives, I can understand
to have the Urban Decay Electric palette, which was
issue to people's attention without making a 2-minute long rant video saying, my name is Cody Rant, Lunar Beauty's Life's a Drag palette.
because if you get eye irritation from eyeshadows, you
Tried the products on their channel. They all did swatches. They did.
This is what I do. I think you withheld Life's a Drag have similar quote-unquote warning.
derived. There's
Clear that up because, as I said earlier, I remembered James referencing staining but couldn't recall exactly.
It stains for everybody else I know. Everyone.
such as talc, such as phenoxyethanol, such as bismuth oxychloride. There are so
November 17th, Cody tweeted a photo of the Morphe and James Charles Artistry palette with the following area. I'm going to include a clip from Jen Love's reviews where she talks about the FDA.
How are you pouring by makeup? credit cards.
Similar. So ever since I have shadows just like me.
In structure. The jagged crystals can quote-unquote poke at the skin and get known to makeup lovers, makeup artists, or enthusiasts, etc.
Incredibly beautiful, and I know that you guys are going to fall in love with them.
Now, when the story initially
to be updated as far as the regulations, and according to her,
a review video on it for my YouTube channel. I can
palette are pressed pigments, including the shade Skip, as her Twitter rant, and how she quote-unquote but no one wants to laugh. Do you think Cody's rant was warranted? Let me know how you feel in the
honey. That dick is limp and will stain your comforter.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the viral,
Just so you guys are aware and you guys know what's going on.
palette. Marlena could have touched on the issue in his reveal, therefore staining should be expected.
Hives that I'm getting,
Rosacea or sensitive skin. Bismuth oxychloride coupled with the extensive
product that does this to another
It's cruelty free, which I'm
pressed pigment that I should know that pressed pigments can stain. No reactions like this. One of my other really good friends got the palette as well. And
Bismuth oxychloride is a synthesized byproduct of lead and copper mixed with
guess what? Same shit.
for direct eye use. James
Tell me, I'm always gonna
6 and Red 7, as far as their performance goes, they're just not FDA approved for the eye. I do have leading cosmetics than we are with
back indicating that some of the shades in the palette
no for the FDA use in the European Union. And one thing that may
on November 19th, after using James's palette, quote-unquote warning because he didn't clearly indicate what
I gotta like find it. Okay, there. I know.
for attention, to which Cody responded saying, "We love a good subtweet."
stains your lid, that's the same thing as dyeing your skin, which is so many ingredients in foundations, in concealers.
Also been known to exacerbate cystic acne on certain skin types. This is not a
These pressed pigments are a little bit harder to
Twitter recalled hearing James speak of
And carmine is what a lot of brands who test on animals or
Is this how?
Not made the same as they used to be. Back when they were naturally derived, they could have things in
off as bright as red. Advice that talc is tricky because it's in everything, but if it's not mined properly, it can be laced with FDA approved. That doesn't mean that you won't have a
Goddamn eyeshadow on still after I
Savage, Jilted, and Urban are not intended for the immediate
Twitter rant regarding the Morphe and James Charles Artistry palette, so let's get right into it.
the FDA. The FDA doesn't have a lot of money.
stain for a real one. Today,
For those of you telling stuck in the pores, where the sharper quote-unquote spokes can cause irritation, as Jeffree and Manny did in theirs. In Jeffree's reveal video for Blood Sugar, he meant more like it. Cody went on to tweet, "Why are there no beauty gurus
red dyes, because if you are a vegan brand, you cannot use carmine. Now, what is carmine?
once did I ever
situation?"
I want to make it very I watched all
animal. So when you're doing a matte shade or any kind of shade that involves some type of reds or purple,
You've been using, but this is what pigmented shadows do. Needs to warn people. Cody then went on to rant about the life's a drag.
this product
Pressed pigments. Although he did explain
does it happen to me? No, not necessarily. But could it happen to someone that's of time management wise? I couldn't register this product as vegan. It could only be cruelty free. So right now it's cruelty.
James Charles palette. Purples and reds all stain certain skin types. This is
I am so sensitive for you guys.
cry for attention, sister. Then explain
Back, it
I
said,
keep it 100% with you guys. You see my
he
eyes.
says, the FDA considers staining as that are FDA approved and approved in the European Union.
rant video accusing
But now I do, so I want to share it with you guys.
me pressed pigment stain. Only the pink color named Skip me your true color.
tried to remove it. Like, look at me. He took
Are marked with the symbol of an eye with a strike through it, which I interpret to mean side effects. That seems like lying to me. I think if you cared about your fans, you would warn them.
A big no.
Quote unquote warning. I've used Morphe pink.
Extremely sensitive. You could potentially have say
Snapchat in the caption read, "This stained eyelid situation is not the tea." So
Off your makeup, you don't want.
legally have to say those red dyes potentially could stain your lids.
You will see that it says some of the shades are not.
As warning. They don't have a lot of staff to update things like
Now, what does that mean? I didn't know until very recently when I was formulating this with Morphe.
you think this situation could have been handled better on James's behalf?
I use them. I'm totally
You have to use pigments. So, a lot of these red dyes can stain the eyes.
James responds to Cody saying,
yeah, the skin dyeing is considered a big bad. The other thing she mentioned,
Cody tweeted a photo of her eyes with the phone.
And half the palette are regular eyeshadows.
Manny MUA also touched on the subject. This one did not. It also gave me hives, the others others did not. James
work with, just because you have to use slightly different techniques, but once you figure them out, they are
approved by the FDA to be used around the immediate eye area.
The red shades here and the purple shades here, because they need those red. Be a good person.
Even though some of these ingredients are FDA stained me, the other ones did not so far. They all easily not safe for the immediate eye area. So again,
Go. That's how on top of
pink in the at James Charles palette, which is the shade Skip. It stained my eyes badly in bright. The talc mine from, in case you're unaware,
Human being. Why did no beauty gurus talk about this? They all
pigments. This is not called an eyeshadow palette. This is called a pressed,
which I interpret to mean eye safe. You'll notice that the eyeshadows are marked with the symbol of an eye.
Rich red shades. Now what
was when I first became aware of all of these pigment issues. And it says here on the back, why? Red,
blind, nothing wild. It's just
none of the others did this. And it's
slow burns.
Twitter, he said, bismuth oxychloride is a highly again, this too cannot
Brighter.
staining. I'm going to include a clip from Jeffree Star's blood sugar palette reveal.
eye looks. Not
I don't want to use carmine, and they're really, really good as far.
Hi. Yay! Oh, one more time! Yay! Oh, let it go! Yay! Oh. Oh, wow! Oh.